True. Nervous. Very, very dreadfully nervous I have been. Why would you say that I'm mad? I love the old man. He had never wronged me. He had never insulted me. But he had the eye of a vulture. A pale blue eye would film over me. Whenever it fell upon me, my blood ran cold. And so every night, I opened the old man's door very slowly, carefully, quietly. For 7 nights, I would watch him sleep. But on the 8th night, the old man awoke. Who's there? Cried. I stood completely still in the darkness.
Then I heard it. A low, dull, quick sound. The beating of the old man's heart. It grew louder, louder, louder. I feared the neighbors would hear it. Suddenly, I dragged the old man to the floor and pulled the heavy bed over him. At least he was dead. Then I hid the body beneath the wooden floorboards. No one would ever know what I had done. Soon after, the police officers arrived at the house, but I smiled calmly and welcomed them inside.
I was confident, relaxed, certain that nobody would discover the crime. I even placed my chair directly above the hidden body. But then, I heard something. A heartbeat, soft at first, then louder and louder. The officers continued smiling and talking, but surely they heard it too. They must hear it. Villains, I shrieked. Dissemble no more. I admit the deed. Tear up the floorboards. Here, here. It is the beating of his hideous heart. Now, let's talk about the Telltale Hearts analysis. To start off, Edgar Allan Poe uses excellent perspective. For example, in the story, he uses the madman as an unreliable narrator because of his mental state, being insane while justifying reasons to kill just because of an eye. And we view the story as readers through the eye of said unreliable and insane narrative. He also brings forth a great dramatic irony which he utilizes at the climax and at the ending of the story, which is the occurring heart effect, which is where Edgar Allan Poe describes the narrator hearing the old man's heart beating so loud even in his death. Well, it's not really possible, is it? It also solidifies the fact that the whole story revolves around the cruel irony of we have to be much more fearful towards the living rather than the dead. And now we move to its weaknesses. Now, for one of the weaknesses is that the story is morally binary, because we know that Edgar Allan Poe made the old man the victim, and henceforth he is the good guy or the good person. And then the narrator is bad, and he killed just because, again, the old man's eye, which is not really a solid reason to kill. And there's no morally gray area which allows people to discuss more in the future. Only that there's black and then there's white. Another thing that's not really a good thing about the story is that it balances on a single idea. The idea, which is the disease that the narrator got, which gives him the superhuman hearing to hear the old man's heart even after his death. And for skeptical readers, they might think that, oh, this might be a supernatural story. In reality, it isn't. So for most readers who are not really keen on the keywords or on the literary sense, they might think this to be a fantasy or magic story rather than a dark romance kind of story.
Good evening, everyone. Today we are honored to interview one of the most influential writers in literature, Edgar Allan Poe. Mr. Poe, thank you for joining us today.
The pleasure is mine. Thank you.
So, Mr. Poe, many readers know you for your dark and mysterious stories. What inspired you to write stories filled with fear, madness, and guilt?
Well, much of my writing was inspired by tragedy and sorrow in my own life. I lost many loved ones at a young age, including my wife, Virginia. Through writing, I transformed grief into literature. I wanted readers not only to read fear, but to feel it deeply within themselves.
Wow, Mr. Poe, well explained. Your stories are often described as psychological horror. Why were you so interested in the human mind?
Because the human mind is capable of terrible things. Fear, obsession, guilt, madness exist inside every person. In stories such as The Telltale Heart, I explored how guilt can slowly destroy someone from within. To me, the greatest horror was never monsters, it was humanity itself.
You are also known as the father of detective fiction. Did you expect your writing to influence literature so greatly?
I only wished to create stories that were unique and emotionally powerful. However, I am honored that my works inspired future writers and detectives such as Sherlock Holmes. Literature should challenge emotions and imaginations.
Finally, Mr. Poe, what message would you like readers to remember from your works?
That darkness exists within every human mind, and sometimes guilt speaks louder than truth.
Thank you, Mr. Poe.